Hello, my name is Kevin Morgan. I'm the Environmental Program Director, Community Partnerships RC&D. These videos that you're about to see are going to help you improve your native pollinator habitat so that you can have more pollinators on your property. First thing you need to learn about increasing your pollinator habitat is the native pollinator life cycles. So the first thing you need to look for on your property is a location that would be where pollinators already reside. In this case, you're looking for the edge of a forest or a riparian buffer. You want to make sure that you start putting your habitat structures and your practices facing south, because that's going to get the early morning sunlight, and that's what the pollinators really need in order for them to get busy doing their thing. The first thing we want to talk about is the difference between solitary bees and bumblebees. Solitary bee lifestyle is much different than a bumblebee lifestyle, and you need to know how these bees reproduce in order for you to provide your structures and habitat practices that are going to allow them to flourish on your property. Solitary bees consist of ground nesting bees, which make up about 90% of the population, and wood borer bees would make up about 10% of the population. It's very hard to put in habitat areas for ground nesting bees. However, you can do it for wood nesting bees. The life cycle for a solitary bee basically consists of the bee finding a structure, in this case a hollowed out piece of wood or a tube, in order to collect pollen in and lay in the back of the chamber. Then he lays the larvae on top of the pollen. And then he partitions off each one of these areas until he gets to the very end and continues to add pollen balls and larvae to each one of these little areas. And then he closes the structure. And then over winter, the larvae would eat the pollen, pupate, and come out in the springtime. The other type of bee is the bumblebee. A bumblebee is a social bee, meaning that it lives together in a hive, similar to like a honeybee. The bumblebee lifestyle, however, is much different than a honeybee. A bumblebee, the queen, will hibernate during the winter. Then she will come out and she'll start looking for a nest, like an old rodent's den, in order to start a colony. This den needs to be dry, well insulated on the bottom, and have good drainage. Once she finds that, she starts laying her brood. And then the brood go out and they find the pollen in order to increase the brood and make the brood larger as the year develops. Towards the end of the year, these social insects will actually start making more queen bees. And the males and the queens will mate towards the end of summer, leading up to fall. Then the queens will find themselves, after they've had a nice little meal there, a place to hibernate, and then hibernate during the winter, and then the process renews itself again the following spring.